All right. Hello.
Hello, hello.
I I am here with the one and only Coley Cole Live. Also known as the Nicole Williams, but better known as Coley Cole Live.
Yes,
And so Coley Cole, can I call you Coley Cole during
you
the
can.
during the call? Okay. All right. So Coley Cole, I remember once not too long ago I referred to you as a joyful spirit. Do you remember me
Yes, I
typing that?
do. I do.
I saw one of your posts on Instagram, and
Hmm.
that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh,
You are a joyful spirit.
thank
So
you.
yes, you are. So I wanted to get started by simply asking you for a little bit of background on Coley Cole. For people who may not know, I know a lot of people are familiar with you, but where are you from, and anything you want to tell me about your educational background and your pathway to where you are now as a professional coach and a counselor.
So, Nicole Williams, originally from Richmond, Virginia, and I am a first generation college student by way of family who's from Trinidad and Tobago. So,
Hmm.
first generation things happening here from a long line of self starters and motivators in Trinidad and business owners who uh, do a lot of trades and things like that. So it kind of just came naturally that that's what I like to do. I have a bachelor's degree in recreational therapy, recreation parks
Okay.
and tourism. I was a recreational
Hmm.
therapist first, working with people with Down syndrome. I did sign language. I worked with deaf and blind. I did that for a while, and then I went back to get my master's degree in professional counseling. I had a my what do you call it? My bachelor's was in recreational therapy with a minor in psychology. So then I got my master's degree in professional counseling at Liberty University, and from then became a licensed professional counselor by license. It took me some time. I didn't get it right
Okay.
away, because
Yeah.
I already had a community-based company for about 18 years, and my
Uh-huh.
outpatient hadn't started yet. So did that, and now I'm currently in school getting a doctoral degree in organizational leadership with the emphasis in behavioral health. So yeah, that's a lot, right? So I did all that. But I always loved school. Um, I would say people would say a nerd, but I would say
Hmm.
no, I was just smart. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I was a reader. I loved reading. Um, was always doing those book it club things where you get the free pizzas
Uh-huh.
and all that kind of stuff. So I did that, and um, growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a doctor. And I always thought it was like a pediatrician kind of doctor. And
Okay.
I've always wanted to work with kids. And I did. I worked with kids when I got my degree in recreational therapy. I started off working with kids ages 5 on up to about 16.
Okay.
And then I branched over, and my first company, community-based company for 18 years, was with children from 5 to 17. And then after that, I went on to do more things with adults, and that's when I became a full licensed professional counselor. But growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a doctor, and but I never liked the medicine part. So
Yes.
I worked in
Hmm.
hospitals, and when I started being around medicine, they always used to come get me because I was talking too much to the people. And I wasn't doing like all the medical stuff. I was doing too much chit chatting, and clients were talking about how good they felt. Oh, send Nicole in so we could talk to her. And I had to tell them that's not really my job. But
Yeah.
so I found that was something I really liked doing. And after I got my bachelor's degree, I was working at Capital One. I always had 2 or 3 jobs, but I was working at Capital One Corporate America as a recruiter.
Hmm.
Going around different colleges recruiting people for Capital One, and Capital One had a big layoff. And when they had the big layoff, I said, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?" So, school was a thing, and I had taken the MCAT for medical school, hated it, chemistry struggling, and something came on TV about counseling, and then my mom, our next door neighbor, who her husband was the first Black psychologist,
Mhm.
um, like around our city. But back
Okay.
then, we just knew him as the neighbor. He
Uh-huh.
we were young. We didn't know how important that was to be to be that. And he used to take me to his office to do testing things because I
Mhm.
enjoyed it. So he would always take me over there to do like the little test. And his wife was a counselor. Still didn't know much about that then. Like I said, first
Mhm.
generation college students. So my parents weren't really into the school thing.
Mhm.
It was me finding
Mhm.
out things. And I got
Yeah.
really fascinated with these tests and him talking to people and them feeling better and have coming in for visits back then. So I went on about
Yeah.
medical school. And then I was when they had the big layoff, I said, I'm not going to medical school. I don't even care about this medicine. I don't not that I don't care about medicine, but for me, that wasn't the part I liked. So for
Yeah.
being a recreational therapist and talking to people for so long, his wife called me one day and said, "You ever thought about being a counselor?" And I said, "A counselor? Like what kind of counselor?" And then she was like, "Well, I have this agency that I work for and I'm hiring people and I just think you would be good at it and you already have the credentials." And I said, "Oh." So I tried it out for a while, loved it, and said, "You know what? I'm going to be a counselor." So I started to get a license in counseling. That's when I got my master's degree. And then it hit me. The guy was like, "You're supposed to be a doctor, but I never told you a doctor in medicine. You said that." So I'm thinking, wow, I'm supposed to be a doctor in counseling. That makes sense. So I said I was going to keep pursuing that to be a doctor in counseling and took breaks and all that. And now I'm finally doing that part because I didn't
Doing that.
want to go back to school, but back in there doing
Yeah.
it now, dissertation writing and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Which I know you love research. So I am just
Well,
getting my foot in the door.
so one thing that I was thinking about while I was listening to you, I was saying, well, since these chill chats are really, I'm tying it into Africana Psych. And so what I was hearing you say was you, like all of us, you knew the Western terminology, doctor, even counselor. These are words that we could also replace with
Mhm,
healer.
mhm,
You just knew you wanted to do something in healing
yeah,
people, and you found your way to it.
yeah,
And so I have a question, a kind of a follow up question.
mhm,
And you touched on it a little bit. So I work with a lot of emerging adults, being in higher ed as a professor. So oftentimes they are saying things like they want to find their purpose. They want to
mhm,
know what their purpose is, and um, so how did you know for sure? Because it couldn't have just been the talkativeness. It
yeah,
had to be something like, what about
yeah.
little Nicole? Was
Oh,
little
so little Nicole was, I knew all along that
Uh-huh.
talking to people and helping people was part of me. That was something I
Mhm.
just couldn't get away from. Much as
Mhm.
I would try, everywhere I would go, somebody would start talking to me just out of nowhere. And even
Mhm.
from a little child. So my mother always says that when I was younger, she knew that I was never going to be someone who did a 9 to 5 behind the desk. My dad was in computers, and my brother did that, and I tried that. But she said, you said you didn't sit still long enough, and you always wanted to help people. You always giving somebody something. She said, I'd be at
Mhm.
work and you call and say, Mom, I gave the neighbor 3 sandwiches. And she said, little did you know, we couldn't afford to give the neighbor 3 sandwiches. She said, but you was giving people sandwiches. And you always were doing things like that. So I knew when I was younger that I would be in the helping profession. Um,
Mhm.
And just from hearing my dad's stories, because I would make up things in the house to say that I was taking people on trips and I was going to help the little kids here. And she would say, I always wondered how you did that because you had never been anywhere and you was going to all these countries.
You were a little healer.
I was
You
a
were a
little
little healer.
healer.
You were a
Yes,
little healer.
a little healer. So I knew when I
Uh-huh.
was maybe I would say in high school, that's when it really hit me that I wasn't going to have a traditional like 9 to 5 job. Like I
Mhm.
knew that I was going to be around people, and I specifically knew that it was going to be in different countries and not just it was the US and other countries, but I specifically knew it was people of color. And I
And
knew
yeah,
people of
yeah,
color
taking
and
it to the
people
world, taking it
right
to the world
and different
community.
nationalities
Mhm.
because I was always fascinated with cultures
Mhm.
and my parents being from another country. And I was
Yeah.
always, I used to, do everything. And when I could travel, started traveling, oh, that was it. And every time I go to a different culture, I'm talking to them about healing and not on purpose. I'm just minding my business and people just
Yeah.
start talking to me. So I knew that's when it clicked that
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do. And it also is so natural because I don't feel comfortable doing anything else. Not that I can't. I have 50 million talents, but I know the one that charters the most is helping people because I just
Yeah.
can't help it. And then,
Mhm.
and it's like I get the answers for them or conversations that help them think. And it just comes natural
Mhm.
to me to do that.
Yes. Absolutely. So pretty much then, I think align with what you're saying. Sometimes what I tell some of my students is, well, you're probably already doing some aspect of it. You just don't know that that's what it is yet. And that's what it sounds like was going on with you, even when
Mm-hmm.
you were a kid, before you even knew the term counselor or
Right.
doctor. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, thank you so much for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's segue to sort of the meat of what I wanted to get to. The reason that I invited you to come and share. You have a retreat coming up that
Yes.
I have seen um, on your various platforms,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen some of your marketing short videos and whatnot. And to me, it does look like a sis, you shouldn't miss this experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in relationship to Africana Psych,
Mm-hmm.
some of your words jumped out at me that you've used in the marketing of the retreat. And I've seen terms like renew, sound bath,
Mm-hmm.
nature walks, sisterhood, soulfulness.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like those words, and those words are very much relevant to Africana Psych and what healers do. And so I'm curious, as you've planned this event, how do you see these words being a part of what the experience is going to be?
Well, I wrote a book called Renew You. It's a woman's
Okay.
transformational guide
Mhm.
into a different mindset. And the acronym stands for redefine, educate, nurture, evaluate, and put in the work. So Renew You came out of a time when I had a crisis of my own. And
Mhm.
I wrote the book sort of after that crisis and wanted to give a platform for women to revive themselves because we go
Mhm.
through so much. And as far as women of color,
Mhm.
we have a little more struggle than others may have to prove ourselves, to continue to be confident, to not let
Mhm.
the world tell us what we should be, what we should look like,
Mhm.
our hair should look like, how we should talk, code switching, all that kind of stuff. And
Absolutely.
I in my profession with counseling, I get so many women and speaking and coaching, get so many women that struggle not exactly with their identity, but struggle with
Mhm.
being comfortable with their identity. and being able to
Gotcha.
know, and no matter where they are. And then they do so
Mhm.
much, their moms, their wives, their caretakers, their they work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week,
Mhm.
and they come home and do something else, and they just are always worn out. So
Mhm.
renew you retreat was brought about because number one is centered around the book. So
Mhm.
every day is a letter. So
Gotcha.
it's a 4-day retreat. And like that Friday, we're going to do the R, which stands for redefine, where we're just sitting there redefining our lives. Like, are we really doing what we want to do? What is it that you
Mhm.
really want to do if you had no kind of barriers? Because we put
Okay.
our own barriers. And I honestly feel like you can do whatever you want. It's just
Mhm.
the barriers we put around our lives that tell us we can't. So doing those things, and each day, like I said, I have speakers coming in. Another therapist is coming in, and I have an African lady who's coming in, and she's selling some clothes, and she has an awesome testimony how she started in Vegas from nowhere,
Mhm.
um,
Okay.
and is doing business. So helping other women see that you don't have to have $1 billion in the bank just to do something different.
Mhm.
You just have to have an
Mhm.
idea and some motive. That's it.
Mhm.
The how to will come. So the Renew retreat says it's time for you to relax. You deserve it. You've been working hard. You've done things all year long, and you never put time for yourself. I hear people say, "I always give and give and give and give." Nobody ever asked me how I'm doing. Nobody asked me how
Yeah.
I'm doing. And that's
Yeah.
also part of boundaries, which is what the next book
What you're doing.
that's coming out is called Boundaries Are Beautiful. So the Renew You retreat segues also into the boundaries and how
Mhm.
as women we don't utilize good boundaries. It's not that we're unorganized, we don't have boundaries. We can have a
Okay.
list of things, but with the list, if you don't have boundaries, it's just a list. So talking about those
So.
things, and the sound bath I got from I went to a sound bath event. It was my first one I went to, and she was doing doing the sound bath, and I literally
Mhm.
fell asleep. And
Mhm.
but when I slept, I had this deep dream that I can remember to this day. But it was just a couple months ago. But I had this deep dream, and when it was over, I was like, "Was I supposed to fall asleep?" Because I fell asleep, and now she was like, "Nope, it did exactly what it was supposed to do."
Absolutely, it
Because
did.
we think that it's so deep, like, oh, it's
Uh-huh.
so bad, so deep. And
Mhm.
it's really not as deep, but it's very healing. So
Absolutely.
I wanted her to come, and then there's a guy that owns a black-owned fish spa where you put your feet in, and you put your feet in, and the fish eat your feet, and it's a cleansing to your feet, and it's
Oh,
like the best cleansing I've ever had. It's better than a pedicure, like it cleans everything.
wow.
But these fish are structured to do that, and my whole story about that is to talk to them about how everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. So.
It sounds awesome because
Mhm.
it's actually taking the women into an experience where they can reconnect, not only renew, but
Mhm.
reconnect with an understanding that we're all a part of nature.
Right. And then
Okay,
the
because
walks.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're communing with the fish,
Mhm.
you're going into the deep sleep, which is the deep relaxation to kind of get your mind right, your brain right, and then being in nature
Oh
is
yeah,
so
that's a
healing.
mini hike. We're doing like
So
it's
healing.
kind of hard walk, but it's like a little mini hike up a little.
Uh-huh.
Not anybody can really do it, but once you get to the top, they have chairs, and we're going to
Mm-hmm.
we're going to go up there and really release things that we want to release, that we want to get rid of, that we want to leave on the mountain, and not
Yeah.
down. So all of these are part of the everyday experiences. And then of course we're gonna have fun because it's in Las Vegas. That's where it's gonna be. So
Yeah.
it's Vegas. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have somebody drive us around. My husband's gonna be the chauffeur for us for 2 days. Gonna
Oh, okay.
we're going to rent a van, and everybody can just get in the van and drive us to where we're going. And that way they can let their hair down and not feel
Okay.
judged because you're around like-minded women. So we're
Mm-hmm.
all trying to relax and learn from each other. And the takeaway is that you would walk away not like you came, and learning something new, not just from me, but from other people that come, and the people you actually connect with that are staying in the house for those couple of days, and that because most of them don't know each other, so it's a new connection you can get, and then you walk away differently saying that you have what you need to keep going. Because we always have to recharge
Right.
your cell phone. You got enough battery
Yeah.
until you don't. Then you have to
Yeah.
recharge yourself. So,
Yeah.
I call it put yourself on the charger so you can get some more juice. Then you can keep going. But you got to put yourself on the charger. So you just go die out. It's not gonna work.
I like I like that metaphor. Put yourself on the
Put
charger.
yourself on the
And
charger.
so it sounds like this is so good because now I'm getting it clear. It's almost like I can visualize like
Mhm.
what you're gonna be doing. And it's like there's a healing in conjunction with nature part and creating community
Mhm.
amongst the women for this time that they are there, which also I think when we say we need to recharge, we also sometimes need to experience community because
Yes.
everybody's now so individual doing their own thing because we're so busy. But
Mhm.
you're going to have people together in community, even though they don't know each other already. When they leave, they should feel
They
um,
should feel
that.
a part
Yeah.
because it's no judgment zone.
Mhm.
Having that
Mhm.
there, only good energy and good vibes. Um,
Mhm.
and those who are not part of that will be put out.
Okay.
We are only
Okay. So
about welcoming
there are
everybody.
some some rules that
Right.
will have to
There's
be
some
followed.
there's some parameters. Like if you
Yeah.
cannot be welcome and open to, it doesn't matter what it's going to be other races there, but their sexual orientation, their thoughts, their beliefs, then you can come. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
because I
be
think
open.
they're gonna feel that when I feel like based on how you described it, I think people who are not um I guess contributing
Mhm.
positive vibes and energy to the space, they probably would take themselves out of there.
Oh yeah, and then the hope is that if you do come and you feel like you're not, it'll rub
Mhm.
off on you till you are, and then you just
That's
can't,
right. That's right.
because it's hard to be dark in a whole room full of light. It's just hard
Yeah,
to do that. So if
that's
that's
right.
something you are fighting within yourself, the hope is that you will learn that it's better and easier and less
Mhm.
energy to just smile and go with it. It
Yeah.
takes, it takes more energy to be negative and
Mhm.
um not and give resistance. That takes way more energy, and people don't realize that. People always say, "Nicole, you smile all the time, like everything's okay." And no, everything's not okay. But what can I do? So
Yeah, and you're the joyful spirit, remember?
what can
You you're the joyful spirit, so
I
I
do?
think you're just gonna be smiling.
Yeah.
Um, so as we wind down, there's something else that I saw in one of your promos that I
Hmm.
wanted to say something about that was also like quite good, right? So you mentioned it earlier briefly, but I saw one of your short videos about women who spend lots of time doing and caring for others, yet neglecting self.
Hmm.
Okay, and so you shared a little bit earlier about how you're going to address that. And so I wanted to just share with you why I like that so much in relationship to the Africana
Hmm.
psychology. Because if we're thinking of the extended self where we're all a part of community and connected, if my arm is broken or I have something inside of me that's damaged, if I'm trying to help somebody else, it's still not going to be as great as if I was also coming there with my best version and whole versions of myself that I can contribute to that person.
Right.
So that's how I look at it, as like it's great to help other people, but that person is still an extension of you. You're an extension of them, and so you want to come to them, feeling your best and
Hmm.
having your best energy, and so I like this renew thing, this charger thing,
Yeah. Put yourself
because
on the charger.
yeah, because then you could go back and continue doing what you
Hmm.
love to do, helping other people, but you could do it from a better um, place. Would that be accurate? What
That
I'm
is
saying?
accurate. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I want to wind us down then with making sure, once again, you've done a great job of promoting the retreat already and things
Thank you.
that
Thank
I've
you.
seen. Yes, but I'd like for you to
Share,
just
share, share, share.
share whatever you'd like to as like a wrap up to it.
Well, I will say that if anyone is interested in coming to the retreat, the deposit is due by July 15th. Of $200, just so we kind of know who's coming and
Mm-hmm.
make sure we can prepare well. The house we're using has a pool, a sauna, and they built a pool and a hot tub, and they built a sauna outside so
Oh,
that
wonderful.
it has cushions in it. It's really nice and the open space. So we want to make sure that the place we have is adequate for everybody. And they can find the information on Coley Cole Live, www.coleycolelive, that's
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
COLEYCOLELIVE.com. And if you click the events tab, it's right there. Um,
Okay.
if they happen to miss the deadline for the deposit, does not mean they can't come. They can still register and they can still come. They just missed the deposit deadline and they have a due date of by September 15th to pay it off to come.
Okay.
If they know a friend they want to come with and room with, some people are doing that. Some people are saying, I don't care, I just want to meet somebody new. It doesn't bother me.
Oh,
So
isn't that nice?
that's it. That's good. So we have some people who are doing that. And I will say, if any woman who has recently thought that I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I don't know what my purpose is in life, am I doing the right thing? Am I being
Mm-hmm.
effective? Or I'm working so hard and I want to do something different, this is the retreat that where you want to be because
Okay.
you don't want to miss that other women have gone through what you're going through, are going through what you're going through, or have already
Mm-hmm.
been. So you can get tips from people who've already been there, support from ones who are already going through it, and
Mm-hmm.
encouragement for people who want to do something different, just like you, and recharge yourself. And the most important thing is that you owe it to yourself. We pay for so many things. We go shopping. We can blow $800 easy just buying stuff we don't even need. Just on Amazon, getting boxes all the time and just frivolous things. But why not invest in yourself? That's the most important investment because if you can't,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, help yourself first, you can't help anybody. You can't you,
Mm-hmm.
you can't help anybody you're around. And
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be around for a long time and you should be. So
Yeah.
it's just to say tell everybody you're anything you've done is not wrong. I always tell people you're not broken. We can't just put a part on you and take you to a shop and fix you. That's not the way this works. But what we
Mm-hmm.
can say is you can always take what you learned and learn something new and add on to it, or do some adjustments to what you already know so that you can
Mm-hmm.
better space, headspace for yourself. And everyone knows I'm big on self-care. My whatever Wednesday is huge, and everybody knows about whatever Wednesday. And I share that everywhere I go, that's important to me, that I've been doing since I was 18. And that is a sacred day, just like if it was a Sunday for church. That is a sacred day. So, and I make sure that when people leave retreats or workshops that I go to, that they find their whatever Wednesday, whether it's a Thursday or whatever. But I believe this retreat is just a big extension of whatever Wednesday in multiple days. That they see how important it is that if you're not good, nobody's good. So,
That's right. Because we are extensions of one another.
yes,
So I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna close us out with reminding everyone. Coley Cole Live is a joyful spirit. And so if all the other things that she has shared doesn't make you want to go, you should go to be around the joyful spirit
yes,
because
yes,
that is in and of itself, it has the ability to make people feel better. And I'd also like to add, because she's probably not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. I wouldn't even be talking on a video right now to post on YouTube if it wasn't for Coley Cole Live, because she inspired me to just do things that, you know, step out of my comfort zone and do stuff. And I like to talk. I was a chatty child as well. Uh,
Daddy
So
child. I like that.
yeah, chatty chow. So I think we can wrap it up, and I think this was great. And thank you for creating the opportunity to help sisters out by offering this. And thank you for coming and chatting with me.
I
I
thank you
really,
for
I really
having me.
enjoyed it.
Thank you
Yes.
for having me. If anybody wants to reach me, I am a coach. I am a speaker. You can, like I say, go to coleycolelive.com and click on if you want to call, 15 consultation free with me to talk first and, kind of chat it up and see if I can help you in any way. If you saying I want to come to the retreat, but I don't have the funds, but I need to talk to somebody, just call me. I'm your girl. I will make sure we can connect in some way, shape, or form. So it's not lost on you. If you can't make this retreat, you're gonna miss it. But you can't make it. We're gonna have more to come. We have a big international one coming in 2027. So
Okay.
to think Trinidad is the focus, taking everybody back to where my family's from. So that's
Woohoo. Yes.
2027 is the goal for that. So that's a big one coming. But you come to the first one, you know how we operate on the rest. So
That's right. All right, Coley Cole.